There's a place, a school, an institution where a professor resides. One that for the past 30 years has traveled the world teaching others. A pioneer in America of the fighting science of Savate. One who codified the sports of this fighting style. One who has produced clubs, champions, and continues to develop. Listen to words of Professor Buitron.
Hope everybody's doing well. We're in the start of the third week in January. This is probably our third video that we make concerning martial arts and Savate. One of the questions that was asked was, why do women stop martial arts? You know, this question was asked by a friend of mine that has a martial arts school, and won't mention his name, and he says, you know what, we've been having trouble keeping women in the martial arts program. And I said, what's going on? Have you talked to them? Have you asked them what's going on? And he says, most of them just said they don't have time. Well, actually, we're going to get into that in a minute. If you like the channel, please click there. There's so much material, so much content that we have, from a podcast of Gloves Off to Savate techniques to demonstrations to documentaries to you name it, we have it there. We've been touching base along the way. Here, it's my concern with Savate schools and associates martial arts that we teach, and coming down. What concerns me is, listen, I've been teaching since I was 18. I started teaching in 1988. Okay. I started teaching in Dallas. Started teaching first a group of guys that did Kempo. Some guys did other martial arts, and they wanted to know what Sipot and Savate. That's how I started. When I was in France, it was a lot different. Right? You know, I left in 90. I was in France for 3 years. I was teaching in France. I had my own club of Savate in France. To this day, I'm still the first non-French to have a club and teach Savate in France. And I saw a difference in attitude and teaching and how everything was. Over there, you had clubs like in rec centers. So you had different martial arts teaching at different times, maybe at the same time. And you would see people that came to Savate were those that wanted to fight, wanted to learn how to fight, learn to defend themselves. Those that went to the other martial arts that were doing something for culture, as per se. Let me get this straight. They were doing something because of the culture of an Asiatic martial art or something to that behalf. You know, they were trying to find a tradition to go along with. They weren't really using those martial arts as a means of learning how to fight and defending themselves. Okay. So with that said, things changed a little bit. So when I came back, we opened up the school, and we had other classes there. We had the presence of Sifu Kisi teaching Kempo. We had John Ayers teaching Aikido, and this went on. And we also started teaching Capoeira. We started getting involved. So a mixture came of age. And since then to now, the average woman to male ratio in the martial arts that I've seen, it's kind of stayed the same, depending on the arts. You know, it's 9-1, 10-1. Probably in Savate worldwide, it's probably between 18 to 21 to 1 female. Okay. When you look at Capoeira, it's a little bit closer, and Capoeira, you're probably looking at 5-1. Taekwondo, which is the most promoted martial art in the world, you're looking at 8-1 as what they state, right? MMA and kickboxing and Thai boxing, all those arts, you're probably looking at probably between 10 to 15 per 1, okay, a woman. So it's very hard for a martial arts school to gain women inside the class for many reasons. But one of the reasons they stop training. Listen, most people are going to join martial arts, and out of every 10 people that join, whether it's a man or a woman, half of them will quit within the first month. Understand that. Within the first 6 months, another half's going to quit. Within the year, you're going to only have half of that. You're going to have a fourth. That's the ratio that continues going on. If you have a school that the person joins and he stays for two years, going on 3 years, then you have a good school. Okay, you have a school that's producing, okay, capable students. You have a lot of students. That's why a lot of schools place people on contracts for 2, 3, 4 years. It's seen. So contracts are going to scare people away. That is the number one reason women do not join martial arts. It's because of the price and because of the stop and the price because of the price and those contractual agreements. That's reason number one. Reason number two, when you start looking at it, is harassment within the school. Women come to learn how to defend themselves, probably because something happened. They're afraid. Usually when crime goes up in a town, you have rapes, you have assaults on women, you have something like that, and it happens, makes a news. Within the following month, you're going to gain a lot of women interested in martial arts schools. You're going to gain some students. Okay, so they're coming in afraid. Something happened to them with an ex, with a boyfriend, with somebody at work. So they're coming to you. I'm talking about women over the age of 21. Okay, they're in the work field, the workforce already. Those are the women that are going to come to train martial arts because something already occurred. So they don't want to go to a martial arts school to be harassed or asked for a date by the students or by the teacher. And it's very common that a lot of instructors kind of hit on the girls after a while. That shouldn't be. Okay. Here at our school for many years, we've had a fraternizing rule. You start fraternizing here at the school, you're out. You're going to go out, and more likely the girl's going to stop, and you're going to go out. Period. I'm not going to have that. So I've changed that. So it's changed a little bit different. So we've had women. 3, a significant other is going to get jealous that the woman is being involved in the martial arts. This happens after the woman has seriously taken martial arts and she's doing good and she's changing her habits. And it passes 6 months to a year, to 9 months. During that time frame, the significant other is going to tell her to quit. Okay? You see this, it's very common. Or you have a girl that has started in college or in high school and she's taking the martial arts very serious and finds a boyfriend that says, you know what, I don't like it. They feel intimidated by the other guys around her that look at her like a sister part of the crew. Okay. They're going to get intimidated and they're going to cause havoc for those girls to go. So it is very common. This is the number three most common reasons why. 4, injuries. If a woman gets an injury, and most of them happen outside of the martial arts, not really inside the martial arts. They happen outside the martial arts, whether running or doing some other activity. When they come to the martial arts, they're going to place an excuse that they can't do it, they can't do it, they can't do it. And guess what? That woman's going to stop. You won't see them anymore. Okay? The next one, number 5, is motivation. A lot of women are motivated by new skills, new techniques within the martial art. So if you have a martial art that's stagnant, it's really not going to change. And then all of a sudden the person takes off. It's that plateau where you're going to lose not only men and women, you're going to lose men as well. but you're gonna lose women a lot faster. Okay, it's when they hit that plateau, if they cannot be motivated to excel, you're gonna lose women students there. The next one, as we go down, is time scheduling. Women. I'm talking about women. I'm not talking about kids in high school or elementary. Or I'm talking about women, even martial arts. It's time restraints, time schedules, working schedule. Work changed. They can't find the class to go in there. They're going to leave. Women are very organized schedule wise. If every Thursday at 7 o'clock they're going to do this, believe me, at 7 Thursday at 7 o'clock they're going to be there. They're a little bit more on point and organized in that than men. Okay, but so when you see these things, you as an instructor in the martial arts, you have to convey the messages to your students. You have to also understand that your students are people. They go through stress. There's stuff in work. There's stuff that happens in their daily life that when they come to a school, they're trying to release that energy to go inside. They're trying to learn. When you start understanding people that have too many problems and you give them more problems, and they're more likely they're going to quit. That's just the basis on everything else. Now, when they're actually having a problem in the school, the students should be able to talk to you and tell you. Now, if they don't talk to you, then you're the problem. Believe me. Now, what happens here, and a lot of people don't want to hear about it, is when women come in, you have to explain to them that there's a process, there's a protocol, there's issues with that. If you have rules, make sure that the rules are in front so people can see the rules. Reiterate the rules to them, like no fraternizing to everybody else. Be careful with what you do. Take care of each other. That type of buddy system that's there. Do not try to baby the woman like, oh, don't hit her hard, don't hit her this. You shouldn't be hitting anybody hard. But what I'm saying is the same initiative of pressure should be through all the students if they're adults. Okay, if you're intermediate, everybody's going to be working at an intermediate base level. If you gain to a different level in rank and they're producing themselves going up in rank, they have to understand that certain levels of intermediate and advanced skill sets, and not only that, pressures and training intensity is going to change. Okay, so talk to your students about that. But remember, the ratios of women joining martial arts is very low in comparison to men joining martial arts, and it's a difference between young girls and teenagers and college students. Talking about this, those are different ratios. So this is a talking point on the top reasons why women leave martial arts. Remember, women now, those that are in the workforce, put 2021. Okay. Number one is going to be, like we said, and you have to really start looking at your school, is a fraternizing rule. Okay, you don't want women to come inside and feel intimidated. They shouldn't be intimidated of the techniques that you're doing, and they shouldn't be intimidated by the people that are around. The jealousy amongst the boyfriend, the husband, what have you, that's something that they're going to have to deal with. It's an issue that occurs all the time. Believe me, we've had so many women leave because of that issue right there. And to me, in our school, that's the number one issue. Why? Because people come in, we have a very fraternal school. Everybody's always helping each other. We have a lot of events that we have. And the thing is, try to get the significant other involved, because that's the reason. If they don't like where it's at, or they don't want them to be there, or jealous because of jealousy, that's a different issue. That's already toxic behavior. And for them to stop a person that's actually doing better and bettering themselves, it's actually wrong, because then that means they're going to stop them in many other things. Maybe in a couple of years, they say, you know what, I want to go get a degree to better my job and better my skills and better learn. to provide. And guess what? I don't want you to go because it's at this time. Think about it. Now, injuries. Be upfront when you get injured when you come to school. If you were playing volleyball or you were running or you were walking the dog or you were hitting a piñata and something happens to you, go to class and say, you know what? I wrenched my wrist. I messed up my shoulder. I fell down. I bruised my ribs. Just take it easy. Why? Because a lot of people say, "Not this didn't happen." They go to class, they get hit there, or they do a technique. It hurts. Oh, I heard it in the martial arts. Okay. There's other ways people can work out that's going to be beneficial for them. Okay. So that's number one. Those are issues with that. Advertise for women to come to your class. You should set up a self-defense workshop. Free ones work. Try to have classes in the morning. Try to have an abundance of different time schedules. Okay? Because a lot of people will quit because all of a sudden their job changed and they can't work out anymore at that time. They're like, oh, well, I'm not going to go there. So have an afternoon class, have a noon class. Or really, you can't make it? Well, here's a noon class. Well, guess in Dallas, we used to have morning classes. Well, I used to teach Savate at 6 o'clock in the morning. It comes in phases, you know, all of a sudden it gets real big, all of a sudden it dies out. Why? Because a lot of those people change their jobs and you have to re-enroll people inside. So things are going to change, understand that. If you find this video beneficial, click like, share, comment. We'll answer some questions if you want. There's another question that's coming up shortly, and that's the opposite of this. Why do men stop competing? The most common reason, and I will talk to you that because it kind of goes with along the lines of number 3. All right. Till next time, much peace.